the Crimson Tide, according to what Carl Ravitch and Dick Vitale and Jimmy Dykes are telling me, could have maybe locked down a 1 seed Saturday in Knoxville. For 39 minutes and 30 seconds, that was going well for Alabama. But you got to play a full 40, and the Crimson Tide did not play the full 40, and Tennessee did. That was I've talked to a lot of Alabama fans over the weekend that were like, look, I know in the grand scheme of things, the way basketball works, that was not a fatal blow, but that one was tough to digest for me.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, it just seems like Alabama kept Tennessee at arm's length the entire game.
They look like the better team the whole game, Lance. And maybe they still are. I'm not going to say they're not the better team over 30 seconds, but still.
Now, if you are one of those that you play the hedge, like you're an Alabama fan, but hey, I'm going to play Tennessee, and hopefully it doesn't hit on 1, 2, or 3. I had Tennessee minus 3.5. It hits on 3. I was hoping that thing would go to overtime. You just had a feeling after the 5-second violation that Alabama was going to lose that game, did you not?
Oh, yeah. But I thought they were going to lose it in overtime, though.
Yeah, I did too.
I think they were going to lose it in regulation. I mean, where do you want to start? I mean, because that last 30 seconds did not go well for Alabama, obviously. I mean, you start with Grant Nelson on the foul, which he didn't think he committed a foul. He thought he was going straight up. That's one of those where maybe depending on how you've called the rest of the game, that's a foul or not a foul. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and debate that. The foul was called. That wasn't really, I mean, you can survive that one because for whatever reason, Tennessee and especially Zakai Ziegler were not hitting their free throws down the stretch.
No.
I mean, that was wild, wasn't it? Zakai Ziegler is one of the best guards in America, man, hitting your free throws down the stretch.
Yeah, and a guy with that type of experience, I mean, you just fully expect he's going to go in and knock those down.
Yeah. But that's where it all started. Because that led to Jaron Stevenson not giving him maximum effort on a block out. And then making it worse by you didn't block the guy out, so you just pushed the guy. And you see a rare, man, how many times do you see this? Guy misses a free throw and you get a foul called like that against the defensive team? I mean, you almost never see that.
Never, yeah.
Like when they blew the whistle, I thought it was a lane violation, didn't you?
Yeah, it was.
And I was like, you're kidding me. You're going to call a lane violation at this point in the game?
I forgot what the game was. It was something earlier this week where we had a flagrant 1 called.
Yeah.
On one of the, it was Texas and I forgot who Texas was playing. But in that game. But yeah, you rarely see that call.
I can't remember. You just don't see many fouls in that situation. But then that was where that was the first time watching that game I thought, boy, man, Alabama had a 4-point lead with 30 seconds to go. I don't know what your percentages are on winning a game up 4 with 30 seconds to go, but they're pretty high.
Oh, I think your win probability was in the 90s, probably 95%.
It is really, really hard to come back from 4 down with 30 seconds to go when you're playing as good a team as Alabama is, even if you're at home. But that's where it all started.
And by the way, I like this 3-guard lineup.
For Alabama?
Yeah, with Stevenson coming off the bench, with Philon and Youngblood starting along Sears.
Yeah.
You know, there's just something about the movement, just about the offense. Now, look, they only scored 76 against Tennessee on the road, which I guess that's not shocking. I mean, you never see Alabama score less than 85, it seems. But this is a really good Tennessee defense. I don't think it was Tennessee's defense that beat Alabama.
No, I would agree. I think Alabama's meltdown is probably most responsible for beating Alabama, and that's where we get to the inbound. And I just there was a lot there. Like, I mean, this is easy to say in hindsight, and Nate Oats has forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know, and it's not even really a criticism of him. I'm just saying when he put Philon there, I was like, man, that's an interesting choice to get a freshman to inbound. I mean, I was watching the game by myself. Nobody was at home. So I said that to nobody in particular. But, man, you got a freshman inbounding the basketball. That's interesting. But then I thought they've probably got a play designed to get it back in his hands, right? That's generally what's going to happen when you get him to inbound it. Then you get 5 seconds, and that's where it really came off the rails. It's right in front of Nate Oats, right in front of him. 5 seconds. And he took ownership. We'll hear it in a second. He took ownership of it to his credit, 100%. He said, this is on me. I just don't know how he doesn't call timeout there.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like, I'm thinking in real time, timeout,
yeah,
timeout.
And I was like, does he not have timeouts? Because that's the natural reaction.
Yeah, and I knew they had timeouts.
You don't even let it get to 4 beats, really.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, I mean, the guy, look, the referee, you can go back and watch it. He's doing this. You know where he is in his count, right? So as a coach, I'm sure you're watching that thinking, when it gets to 4, I'm going to call the timeout. I won't worry that I left a second on the table. We'll reconvene and we'll figure something that's going to work better. I was stunned watching that. Nate Oats is one of the best coaches in America. To see that happen in a situation like that was pretty stunning to me.
Look, and Alabama just didn't shoot the basketball well.
They
I
didn't.
mean, again, that would be a credit to Tennessee's defense. But, I go back to Grant Nelson, and he's been doing a lot of other things. And, we brought up last week that he wore the hard hat, although he struggled offensively in, what was their last game out?
The Alabama.
Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Mississippi State. But Grant Nelson, he's gone one double-digit scoring game in the last month. He had 6 straight double-digit scoring games before that. So he is struggling offensively right now.
Yeah. Here is Nate Oats, Cup 5, Tyler. Nate Oats, after the game. Nate is a very honest guy. That's one thing I will say about him. You've noticed that when he comes on the show, he doesn't really pull punches.
Nope, not at all.
We've interviewed Nate Oats no telling how many times.
Don't think he pulls punches with his players.
He doesn't. He's very honest about his players. He will say when a guy needs to get better. He will say when a guy has not lived up to expectations, and he will praise them when they do. I think he is a very, very honest guy. Sometimes he's been on the show and said things where I'm like, wow, I can't believe he was that honest. So if you're going to do that, you got to own it when you're the guy that has messed up, and that's what Nate Oats does right here.
I'm going to take most of the blame in the last 30 seconds. It's on me. Got subbed our bigs out to get the rebound before I should have. Shouldn't have subbed them out until after we secured the rebound. So that was on me, and then I had a chance to call timeout. Coaches can call timeouts on the underneath out of bounds play. And at 4, I should have called it. I thought we were getting it in, and that's on me. So, and then we probably could have had better guys in, being a little smaller at the end with the 3.8 on the clock to make sure they didn't get the ball up the floor. So we work on into game situations in practice and expect our players to be good at them, and I was not good for the last 30 seconds today. So I feel like I failed these guys, for 39 and a half minutes. They outplayed them. They were up 4. Tough call on Grant's verticality. Play there at the end, but it's the game of basketball. There are a lot of tough calls in the game. Worst case scenario is they make a free throw. We still have the ball with 30 seconds to go, up 1. And I should have left the guys in to make sure that we secured it before we got to the offensive end. And we give up, we foul, getting the rebound at the free throw line. They make 2 for 2, which you got to give them credit. We got to do a better job making our free throws. They shoot 73%, we shoot 65%. We shot 50% at the rim, 65% at the line. It's hard to win big games like this, but we were still up 4 with 30 seconds to go, and too many coaching mistakes in the last 30 seconds.
I mean, that was a lot of what he did wrong. I mean, he at least...
So after the violation, as far as, in that point, do you really want to give Tennessee more time by calling a timeout and getting the right personnel in?
I know. You don't want to give them a chance to draw something up, do you?
And I did think it was interesting when Meshack hits that, you see Amore coming over trying to block the shot. I mean, you did have a lot of length in, and you would rather have, guards on ball, like making it more difficult. Meshack, by the way, had 7 threes in conference play before that 3.
That was the guy you wanted shooting it right there.
You're right.
I mean,
from 30.
Yeah, you had it in the guy's hand. Like if you said, all right, this last 30 seconds has been a disaster, Nate. I'll give you Meshack shooting a 3 from 30. He said, okay, we'll take that.
We'll take it, yeah.
I mean, that's just a once in a lifetime for that guy.
God, I don't know, man. And it happened all so fast, and obviously for Oates too, because he just said, there were so many different things that was going through his mind that maybe he should have done differently. But, man, when he let it go,
it kind of felt like it was going in.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I'm watching in live action like that's falling.
And that ended
I don't
up,
know why I felt that way.
In retrospect, being a hell of a game.
Oh, it was a fantastic game. They were calling it game of the year. They call it the biggest game ever at Thompson Bowling. I did not know that going in, but that's what Ravitch and Jimmy Dykes were saying.
Thompson Bowling at Food City Center. Have you ever been to a Food City?
Yeah.
I don't think I have. Is it just Tennessee thing?
Tennessee, North Carolina, up in that area.
Okay.
Those are pretty big. Yeah, I've been to a Food City. I don't know that I would say it's anything to write home about. It's
not Whole Foods.
It's a grocery store. Grocery store is a grocery store to me for the most part. But, yeah, it's a grocery store. Now, there are people that are saying it wasn't 5 seconds. And I've gone back and watched it. It was 100% 5 seconds. Now, Jay says in the chat room the ball was out when the whistle was blown. So I don't know. I did not go back and watch that part. But here's just the reason I know it was 5 seconds, because I'm firing up the grill. We're going to grill some steaks, and my wife was at the store. I'm firing the grill up, so I got the game on outside. And as they're inbounding the ball, I'm walking back inside, and I stopped to watch that play, and I'm like, holy crap, it got 5 seconds. So I was going to go back inside and rewind it, because watching it in real time, it did not feel like 5 seconds.
Well, you ate early on Saturday, didn't you?
That was about 5:30. I got to grill before it gets dark. Time hasn't changed yet. I wanted to grill before it got dark. So I go back in, and I don't even have to rewind it. For whatever reason, the TV in my den was behind, and the play's about to start. So I count I'm watching the guy, and I count, Lance, it's 6, almost 6.5 before the ball is inbounded. Like, it wasn't a quick 5. I initially thought it was, but I go back and watch it. It's not even a quick 5.
Yeah, 5 seconds it is when ball is released, but didn't it used to be when ball was in hand or touched?
Oh, inbounds? I don't remember that rule.
I thought a long time ago
I thought as long
it was.
as you released it by 5,
I
you
know.
were good.
I know that's the way it is now.
Yeah.
But I think there was a time when.
Yeah. I'm just saying, in real time, you watch that. First of all, how many 5-second calls do you see anymore?
Not a lot.
On an inbound. Most of the time.
Well, again, you get a timeout.
Because you get 70 timeouts in college basketball. So normally they've called a timeout. And I initially was like, God, there's no way that was 5 seconds, because you're not used to that, especially in that situation. And in my mind, I'm thinking Nate Oats would have called a timeout if it was that close to 5 seconds. So I go back in and watch it. I'm like, holy crap, it was 6, almost 6.5 seconds. It was a slow 5. They had forever to get that ball in and still couldn't do it. I don't. So Tom says you're right that it had to. We asked the refs to do a lot, so he's got to count 5 until the guy inbounds touches it. I mean, what a weird rule that was.
Yeah,
I don't even remember that being the rule.
Oh yeah, it was. I forgot when they changed that rule.
Well,
but that was a tough loss for Alabama. Now you regroup, and if Alabama does win out, I mean, obviously by winning in Auburn, if you are to win in Neville, that kind of erases the loss against Tennessee.